Matthew Perry has been quoted wondering why other YouTube channels fade into existence while the Cinefanatics remain. Well, you're going to find out tonight on the Tagline. Join us!
What is going on, everybody? We are the Cinefanatics. My name is Robert Adams.
I'm Chris Adams.
And it's Wednesday night. That must mean it's time for the Tagline, the show where the tagline is the title, where we're going to talk about movie news and everything that's going on in the movie world. It's going to be fun. Glad you're here with us to join us in the discussion in the chat. As we begin, let's take care of YouTube things. You got any questions, comments, issues, complaints? Streamlabs.com/Cinefanatics. Best place to notify, not notice. You can notice us right now. We're on your screen. Notify us of that stuff on there.
Open your Apple Note app and write the Cinefanatics and note us. You know, it's a thing. It's a trend. All the kids are doing it nowadays. You got to note us.
Yeah, or patreon.com/Cinefanatics if you feel the need to support the crazy zaniness that we do and my bad English and grammar potentially, hop on the tier that's good for your wallet, patreon.com/Cinefanatics. Thank you for that.
This is what happens when your mouth gets ahead of your brain.
That can happen a lot with me, as people may have noticed, so whatever. I'm working on it. I'm getting better. I promise. Just baby steps, day by day. Eventually, I'll be like the ultimate professional at doing this when I'm 81 years old. So
probably plateaued within the last 2 years, but whatever.
I hope to still be doing this when I'm like 80 something years old, though I'll probably still be talking about the MCU at that point. So it'll still be a weekly conversation.
Oh, we'll see. We've got very minimal MCU today and very maximal DCU.
Yeah, maximal. Isn't that like the Transformers that turn into like gorillas and stuff?
Sure.
Thanks for playing on that. That was fun. Let's move on to something else. Upcoming shows. This Friday, we are doing the final horror movie marquee of this month. That is going to be Stephen King movie rankings. Joining us this Friday. Well, joining me, because this scaredy cat over here is not going to be a part of any horror movie marquee.
I really approve of you promoting false narratives about me.
I'm glad I can be here and be the older brother. Anyways, joining me on this marquee on this Friday will be returning guest Tori Rose and also returning guest Lego. So yes, we'll be ranking Stephen King movies. It's going to be a lot of fun. Again, y'all probably heard me talk about this before. No TV movies. And yeah, there'll probably be a couple other stipulations. Y'all might ask like why some shows are popping up and some movies are in here and some of them aren't. I'll clarify it even more on the marquee. That is this Friday, October 28th at 7:30 Pacific, 10:30 Eastern. So the final marquee.
The marquee dies on Friday night. The marquee dies on Friday night. The marquee dies on Friday night.
The marquee dies that night.
For October of the year 2022.
Yeah,
it'll be back in November.
I said it that way on purpose because we might not be done with the Tears for Fears this year. More on that later. But anyways.
Also, I don't think Tori's going to be a guest anymore.
Joining me on the marquee this Friday will be Lego, even though it was Tori's idea. Oh, that's gonna be awesome. Yeah, so I'm just now clicking over, seeing all the comments. So 2 women, 1 king.
She's not talking about you.
Oh, okay.
Stephen King.
Oh, that's right. Well, thanks for letting me have like an ego stroke there for like half a second.
In this sentence, you don't exist.
I never do. It's just, I get it.
This is factual, and I hate every bit of it.
Welcome to the hour where all we're doing is just clicking on Tori's comments.
She's written a lot of comments.
Good. This one's good. Tears for Beers. Party movies like Beer Fest, Animal House, Strange Brew.
We're going to tier rank all of the Van Wilder films.
Yeah.
All
Anyways.
80,000 of them that went direct to DVD.
No, that's more like the American Pie movie.
Sorry, I meant National Lampoons, not Van Wilder. I meant the overarching.
Okay. That makes sense. Let's talk about some new movies that we've watched this past week. Again, there's one that both of us watched this past week, which let's save that to the end of these. Let's talk about the new movie that you watched this past week on the Patreon watch along that we did this past Monday. You could join us on that at the due tier on our Patreon, so you can join us for those watch alongs also. Anyways, we watched The Shining. Go ahead, Chris. Talk about it. The hell are you doing?
I was talking about The Shining.
Oh, wow. It took me a second. I was like, what the?
Yeah! He has The Shining. Anyway, good movie. We talked about this when we saw it. Asking me, for someone who isn't really into horror movies, having seen it for the first time, does it live up to the hype that movie has? Absolutely. It lives up to that hype for sure. I really enjoyed it. It's one of those movies, and I talked about this after our watch along. It's one of those movies where I'm not gonna be in an all-fire rush to watch it again at any point. That does not preclude that it is not a good movie. It just means that it's not a movie that I feel like it's one of those, like, I've seen it, I feel good about it, it was a good movie, moving on kind of a thing. You show respect to it, but it doesn't feel like the type of movie that I would like return to time and time again. That being said, Jack Nicholson, Oscar level performance in that film, cementing him as probably one of the greatest actors ever, maybe.
Yeah.
At the very least, he had a really solid run of movies in, like, I guess the late 70s to mid 90s or something. So he had a pretty good career, and this definitely proved that, like, he was in the right career choice. He was in the right field in his life.
Did you go back and watch the scenes for The Shining from Ready Player One?
No, not yet. I think I might just go back and rewatch Ready Player One as a whole at some point. I want to see that, and I want to watch Dr. Sleep now.
Yeah. Like I said during the watch along, I feel like if you were okay with The Shining, you'll probably be okay with Dr. Sleep. As for me, the first time I watched The Shining, I had a hard time with it. It took multiple rewatches before I actually did come around and like it. Probably the same with Dr. Sleep. I just wasn't a fan when I first watched it, but after watching like the dead meat kill count of it a couple of times, I kind of understand it a little bit better. So I'd probably like the movie a little bit more. But real quick,
Garth is giving me crap in the chat right now. Garth, cut that out. First one, watch the whole movie again, just the clip of the woman in the bathtub. That's not true.
So I can't remember. Did you watched another Jack Nicholson movie for the first time? Was that in this past week?
No, that was the week before.
Did we talk? We talked about that last.
Was it
Tagline last week?
I watched One Flew Over the Cuckoo's Nest. Was that last week?
I can't remember when you watched that. That's why you keep track of them on Letterboxd.
That's a good point. Let me see if I logged that, because I've been missing doing it immediately lately.
So while you're doing that, I will talk about real quick, briefly. I have watched a couple of more Stephen King movies to catch up for the marquee this Friday.
That was last Thursday, so that was within the last Tagline week.
Okay, well, let's finish this up with the Stephen King real quick first. So I had thought I had seen all of Maximum Overdrive before. I guess I hadn't. So I did watch that, In the Tall Grass, 1922, and 1408. Apparently, a lot of these movies are just years or numbers. So yeah, watch all those. Again, I'll give my full thoughts, feelings, opinions on the marquee because that's where we're going to be talking about them. So yeah, so you saw One Flew Over the Cuckoo's Nest. What did you think of that?
Also really good. Also another movie that I probably will not watch again. Both of these are moderately heavy movies too, with some like pretty heavy themes.
Yeah.
Cuckoo's Nest a little bit heavier, I think, than The Shining, just because it's more based in reality, I believe. So, Cuckoo's Nest is really good though. It's another veritable classic, I would say. So. I enjoyed it. Again, another really solid performance from Jack Nicholson. I hated Nurse Ratched. I know you're supposed to. I definitely did. Chief, my favorite character in the movie. Loved that guy. He was hilarious. I don't want to spoil, a movie that's that old, just in case for some reason someone else here hasn't seen it. But there's a lot to love about Chief. Oh yeah, and. Yeah, Lego brings that up. That was
Brad
Dourif's first movie role.
Yeah, and he won an Oscar for it.
Yeah, deservedly so. He was incredible in that movie. He did a fantastic job. I was like, isn't this is this the guy that plays Chucky?
Chucky
Really?
and Grandma Wormtongue. Mm-hmm.
Really? Yeah, he was really good. Like his character was probably, I don't know. It was one of the most heart-wrenching parts of the movie for sure. But yeah. And Danny DeVito. That's the funny thing about Danny DeVito being in it. So first of all, I did recognize that Christopher Lloyd was in it. I recognized him. Danny DeVito, I didn't immediately recognize as Danny DeVito. I looked at him, I was like, I've seen this actor somewhere before. He looks so familiar. I've definitely seen this guy in other things. And I looked up the IMDb while I was watching it, and I was like, that's Danny DeVito?
Yeah.
Dang. He looks
like Danny DeVito as a toddler.
Yeah, he was a young thing back in the day when he was a young man. That's a quote for you.
Anyways, so then the movie that we've both seen over this past week was the always amazing, powerfully awesome Black Adam.
The hierarchy of power, something, DC Universe, something, change, something.
Which you can see our review for it. It's already up and has been viewed multiple times, so go watch that. Yeah, it was just like, still, I feel like my opinion of it is still very meh. And I think that in general, that looks like that's the consistency of it. That's what everyone agrees.
The what?
That's what everyone agrees to, is that it's pretty much like a very middle of the road type of movie.
Census. Yes.
Yeah, sure. Thank you. 3 hours later, you're going to correct my wording.
You didn't stop talking in that 3 hours.
That's why I'm bypassing it. I just keep going.
Oh no,
not important.
I stay on it.
Anyway, so yeah, I thought it seems like most people are thinking of it that it's just it's all right, but it's just not. Thanks, Tori. Sure. For love of God, y'all.
The general consensus is the word is said, consensus.
I hate all of you. Anyways, it's just a very middle of the road superhero movie. So it's nothing great.
Yeah. It was an early, it felt like an earlier superhero movie. Here's the thing though. It felt like superhero movies prior to the MCU. In a good way. It felt like that in a good way. Like, I feel like they did it in a good way. Whereas Venom, I felt like did that in a bad way. And I don't know if I can really spell out what makes them different. I do like Black Adam more than I like Venom. So,
yeah, I like Venom more, but just I like that character more, so I'm kind of like biased on it. I like the I think you said it before. Compare Black Adam to Shazam. It's just about as equal as Shazam. It's just very okay.
Yeah, it's a. I mean, you look at our ratings. Our ratings for that were 2.5 out of 5. It's
You can't get any more middle of the line than that.
it's exactly middle of the road. There's a lot to like about it. There's a lot to not like about it. Some of the dialogue is very corny. The stuff with the kid was kind of enough with the kid already. Dr. Fate, I loved. Apparently he's not completely comic accurate, but par for the course for
There's no way
DC
they were going to.
movies.
There's no way they were going to make him comic accurate in one movie, and especially a movie that isn't really about him. Yeah, there's no way they could dive into that.
For what they could do with him, I feel like they handled it pretty well.
Yeah,
it was a lot of fun to watch. And Pierce Brosnan, I mean, come on, dude was an excellent choice for that role.
Mm-hmm.
The Rock, also not necessarily a bad choice for Black Adam. The problem was, again, I think we said this in the review, the problem is Black Adam should not immediately know English, and he should not be speaking in an American accent. So
yeah, he was just very much Dwayne Johnson dressed up in a really expensive Black Adam costume. I mean, now he's good at brooding. He was still good. Like, he's probably one of the best choices for it. I just, like, after all the time that he spent trying to get this character on screen, I feel like he probably could have done a little bit more work on his part to get it. Please don't hurt me, Dwayne Johnson. I can smell what you're cooking. It's a big can of whoop ass on me. I know, or is that no, it's Stephen Austin. Anyways.
He's not gonna hurt you. He's gonna ask what you think, and when you proceed to tell him, he's gonna say it does not matter what you think.
Yeah. So I can just take my opinion, turn that sumbitch sideways, and stick it straight up my candy ass. I'll do that, Mr. Johnson. Just you go work on perfecting your Black Adam, and I'll start sticking stuff up my candy ass. Anyways, let's move on to something else, huh?
Agreed.
Let's get into movie news.
Ladies and gentlemen, good evening. This is what's happening in your world tonight.
We apologize for the interruption.
Back to you.
How's that box office looking, Chris?
Actually, it looks really interesting this week.
I bet there's one I want to talk about so bad.
Yes, and I will bring that up too, because there is news to talk about on that specific one.
Mm-hmm.
No, I have zero interest in seeing that movie. There's a lot of interesting stuff going on. So we got actually a lot to break down here on the box office. First of all, can we guess what number one is?
Black Adam.
Okay, good job, everybody. Whoa, we did it. All right, Black Adam is number one with a solid 67 million in its opening weekend. Not bad. That's about, I feel like that fits the theme of this movie. Feels like an earlier, pre-MCU comic book movie, because that's about the numbers that a lot of these we're seeing, like the your Sam Raimi Spider-Mans, your X-Men, like a lot of those I think we're sticking around that 50 to 100 million, opening weekend mark.
I mean, we're talking about a 20-year difference, though, so there's also the inflation and how the market has changed on how we view movies. But yeah, generally, most of your superhero movies are like under 100 million opening weekend.
Right, so it fits in line with 20 years ago. Pretty good. Not too bad. But actually, I feel like that's pretty good for the character of Black Adam, who should have theoretically been introduced in a Shazam movie and not in his own movie. It's one of those, like, not a mainstay DC character that is known by the wide population of people out here. So, why should we expect that movie make a whole lot of money when it comes out? We don't, but it got 67 million, so it's actually pretty good for it. So, number two is Ticket to Paradise. That's that George Clooney and Julia Roberts, I believe, like a rom-com type thing. I've heard it's just delightful, honestly.
I bet that would be good. I would love to see the two of those in a movie together. That would just be fantastic.
We're talking about like classic movie stars at this point.
Yeah, but I mean, a movie with those two, can you imagine what a movie with just those two people in it would look like?
Yeah.
You really want to push it.
Clooney.
Yeah, I mean, you really want to push it. I mean, how about this? What if you were to throw Brad Pitt into it also?
Yeah, so Ticket to Paradise made about $16.5 million in its opening weekend. Not too bad.
Matt Damon. Put Matt Damon in that also. That'd be fantastic.
We need to change. I need you to create an overlay for our show here that just blocks you out. So I don't have to do the remove you, and then Vision, of course, is in my way, but obviously it messes up how it looks if I remove you.
Yeah. So don't do that.
Number 3 is Smile. Smile hanging out there in the top 10 still. Been out for about 4 weeks, so that's not too bad. Number 4 is Halloween Ends. That dropped from number 1 to number 4, which is incredible considering Halloween hasn't actually hit yet for this year.
So wait, let me see. So today's the 26th. We've got, so this weekend is Halloween weekend.
Halloween stay in the top 10 of the box office Halloween challenge.
I would love to see if it falls out of the top 10 after this next weekend. Like Halloween weekend and Halloween Ends just can't stay in the box office. That would be hysterical.
It will stay in the top 10 for Halloween weekend for sure, but
damn it.
I mean, it dropped 80%. That's a huge drop to go from 1 to 4 in the matter of a week.
Yeah.
Considering that we've got some big tent poles coming up like Wakanda Forever and, other big movies coming out in November, that's Halloween Ends isn't going to stay in the top 10 for too long. I give it about 4 weeks and then it's gone. It's gone by week 5. All right, number 5, we've got Lyle Crocodile. That's going to hang out there for a little bit just because it's a family movie. It's nice counter programming to a lot of other things happening in October. A lot of other horror movies and stuff. It's good for that. Number 6, we got The Woman King. I don't think that one's going anywhere for a while. Number 7 is the big news story here. Because it was number 8 last week, and that's Terrifier 2. That is slowly rising. The ranks. Instead of going down and potentially leaving the top 10, it is actually going up and up and up. And I think it's got a lot of interesting word of mouth, and that's why.
So there's 2 reasons why it's going up. One is because so first I will address word of mouth, basically kind of like what I've said in my review of it and what I've said on here before is it seems like Terrifier, and I haven't actually seen a hashtag on this and I'm surprised. But Terrifier seems like it's almost in that realm where it's a challenge movie. Like people are challenging their friends to go see it and sit through it, not pass out, not puke or anything. So therefore it's becoming like a TikTok challenge. Go see this almost 2.5 hour long roller coaster ride of a movie and see if you can sit through it. And so that's causing people to want to go see it. Because of that, it's also opening up in more theaters. I think like it's just over this past weekend, or like it may be this weekend, it's going to be opening up to 1,000 theaters now nationwide.
Yeah, so it was open in 755 theaters this last weekend, which is 55 more theaters than was open the weekend before. So it is gaining theaters.
So that's your main 2 reasons why is word of mouth, it possibly being like some kind of a challenge for people to have to sit through. And then because of that, more theaters giving space to it, allowing it to be screened. Problem with that is I believe I read on Halloween, so on Monday, it's actually going to be available to stream at home. I forgot the name of the streaming service. It's not Shudder. It's like some other streaming service I've never heard of before, but they have like exclusive rights to stream it, and I believe that's going to start on Monday. So while it might not hurt the box office for Terrifier 2 this weekend, potentially it may suffer a little with anyone who wants to go see it this weekend and then come to find out it's streaming at home on Monday. They may just wait till Monday. Or again, if it is really like a challenge, they may still go see it in the theater to force themselves to sit in the movie theater and watch it. So,
yeah,
I
If
would expect it to go up some more, specifically this weekend.
if it's opening in another 250 theaters this weekend, opening up to like 1,000 theaters essentially. If it's opening up to that much, I expect it'll be up at number 5 for this weekend, and then it will be dropping way back down after that.
Yeah. Chris walks out of the Nicole Kidman footage. Well, I lost the challenge.
Hey, you know, leaving, not committing to challenges feels good in a place like this.
You know, somehow having your face blown off with a shotgun and then mashed potatoes shoved in your cavity hole feels pretty good in a place like this.
So number 8 in the box office this week is Don't Worry, Darling, falling from number 6.
I'm actually really surprised that one's still holding on.
It's only been out for 5 weeks. It's gonna, it'll be out. It'll stay in the top 10 for at least another week or two.
Yeah.
Number 9 is Amsterdam. That's the one that I think. Oh, that's only been out for 3 weeks, and that's already at number 9. Yeah, that's the one that I'll be surprised if it's still hanging out in the top 10 next week.
And number 10.
And then number 10.
Still? Is it still there? Did it fall off?
I have some bad news, everybody.
It finally fell out.
Top Gun Maverick is no longer in the top 10.
Ah.
You want to know what's taking its place? It's honestly pretty much swapping places with it, more or less.
Something that's not as good.
Something that brings a lot of sadness. A triangle of it, so to speak. Which is weird because Triangle of Sadness has been out for 3 weeks, but I think it's what's happening is it's opening up into more theaters as well. It's getting a wider and wider release.
Yep.
It was at 14, place 14 last week. Now it's at number 10. So Top Gun Maverick has been dropped out and replaced by Triangle of Sadness. Now, I say that to say this. Top Gun Maverick fell. It left top 10 and it fell. It's down at 15 now. It's not even at 11. Like, it dropped all the way to 15. So
wow. It is a lot more widely available on like streaming, video on demand now. So that's part of it. 2, again, we're getting closer to Halloween. No one's wanting to watch Top Gun Maverick for Halloween. They're wanting to watch Smile or Terrifier 2 or maybe Halloween Ends. I don't know. There's also Barbarian is on HBO Max. Again, if you haven't seen Barbarian and you don't know anything about it, watch Barbarian. I might actually watch it tonight. I might actually do like I don't know. Maybe I might do like some kind of a watch along or something. I don't know. Maybe.
He thought of this just now, which means it's probably not going to happen.
Yeah, I don't know.
Don't bank on it. So, yeah. The thing with Top Gun Maverick, I think, is Paramount would be really smart if they bring it back to the theaters every so often. You know, namely like Memorial Days and
July 4th.
July 4th. Like, those are the days. Bring back Top Gun Maverick to the theaters on those days every year. Make it a yearly tradition.
Yeah.
No reason. I mean, look, you're spending a little bit of money to do so. Sure. One ad coming back to theaters this July 4th. It's a new annual tradition. Top Gun Maverick.
That could easily be a tradition. I've said it before. I feel like it's going to be really hard watching that movie not on a big screen.
They make bank. They bring it back for 2 weeks, 2 week
Engagement.
event. Yeah, 2 week engagement every year. You know, like on July 4th or something. Yeah,
I'll go see it.
Got it. Yeah, new yearly tradition. Gonna go see Top Gun Maverick every July 4th.
Mm-hmm.
Absolutely. So, that's an idea. That's a free one, Paramount. You don't have to pay me for it, though, if you wanted to. I wouldn't say no.
Just please stop blocking and copywriting our trailer reactions to your movies.
Does Paramount do that?
I think Paramount's one of the ones that does that.
Oh,
they're not as bad as Universal, but
yeah. Anyway, that's where your box office is at. That's the sad news today, is that Top Gun Maverick is no longer in there, and Terrifier 2, for some reason, is rising the ranks.
Yeah. Anyway. Kudos, Terrifier 2. Good job. All right. What you got for Barbie Watch?
What's Barbie Watch?
It's that portion of the show where we talk about Barbie news and Barbie things. You know, like that Barbie movie that's coming out?
There's a Barbie movie coming out?
Sure. You're not familiar with this?
No, why don't you tell me a little bit about this Barbie movie? What's this Barbie movie thing?
Well, okay, I'll tell you about it, but you got to play the thing first.
No, tell me about it right now. Start telling me right now. Tell me about it.
So you know there's a I was actually just about to click it myself. I'm just like,
oh, you don't need to do that. I have comedic timing, sort of. I know how to do things.
Are you Barbie splaining to Chris?
Yeah. Out of the two of us, which one is going to be in line for this thing?
Well, I mean, that being said, this is damn near a Barbie figure. I mean, let's be honest.
It's a Black Widow figure.
It's a 12-inch doll of a female character. This is a Barbie doll that looks like Scarlett Johansson.
Shut
This
up.
has been your Barbie watch.
No. There's actually some fun stuff today. Not really 100% pertaining to the movie, though it's kind of like side related. I'm going to talk about this one thing. I'm going to bring up this other thing. And even though Garth has already tuned out to the thing, there's actually going to be something that he's going to be into. So Garth, come back.
Come back, Garth.
So the first piece of news is that there's a Barbie themed Maserati. Let me see if I can read off the name of this car appropriately. Grecale Trofeo? I don't know. It's like Italian or something, I guess.
Good job, sir.
It's a $330,000 car. It's pink. It's a Maserati. It's a collaboration with Neiman Marcus of all establishments, and it's a one-off thing to raise money for charity. It's connected to the movie loosely. I think they're gonna start ramping up some like marketing of it loosely here and there, kind of like weird patches of marketing for this Barbie movie coming out, even though it's not coming out till next summer, which makes me wonder, are we going to get a trailer soon? Please, for the love of God, give me a trailer. I need a trailer for this movie so bad because I need some things to talk about in the Barbie watch. Also, I just want to see the trailer. I just want to know how this movie's going to look, the tone of it, what it's going to be about.
I want to see the marketing kind of copy the marketing for Smile. Just get like a bunch of people like in pink outfits or whatever to stand behind home plate at baseball games. That took you a while to look at me.
Well, I'm trying to find this other news story that I saw and it kind of completely disappeared, which is a bummer.
God, it's such a creepy face. God.
There was some kind of an event happening, I believe, this last week. Oh, there it is. Oh, no, it's coming. It's still coming. Okay, here we go. Found it. This is loosely related to the movie. This event is inspired by the movie. There is a Boston restaurant that wants you to put on your best Barbie core outfit for a Halloween themed brunch.
Garth, we need pictures.
Garth,
we need pictures. Garth,
we need you to send a spy out for this this Barbie themed Halloween brunch.
Screw the spy. I want to see Garth dress up and go to this thing.
Right. So the restaurant's apparently inviting guests to the brunch starting at 10:30 a.m. and running to 2:30 p.m. on Sunday, October 30th. And it'll serve up fabulously hot pink cocktails. I'm reading this article off of masslive.com. So I'm guessing it's like a news source for Massachusetts. But yeah, this looks interesting. Everyone's gonna dress up in hot pink Barbie outfits, and they're going to be doing a lot of fun brunching around in the Boston area. So there you go.
I would love to go to a Boston brunch because
Boston brunch.
It would still probably involve Sam Adams beer in some form, and that would be awesome.
Judging based off the chat, I'm going to assume that Garth didn't hear a word of this, which is very unfortunate.
He's
well.
there. It's just delayed. But yeah,
he's muted the stream because he doesn't know when the Barbie watch is going to play again.
So we'll play it again, and then when it's done and we know that he's unmuted it, then we'll talk about it again.
So anyway, not really like the heaviest movie-related news. Kind of waiting, hoping we get some of that here pretty soon, but at least there's something related to Barbie and the Barbie movie in some capacity happening this week. Therefore, I will say with great emphasis, this has been your Barbie Watch. He's just bouncing now.
Anyways.
Garth, it's safe to unmute your computer now.
He can't hear you say that. It's muted.
Oh, whoops.
Anyways, moving on. Let's talk about some other movie news.
Yeah.
Chris, I'm eager to get your thoughts on this next one. It's been reported that Tobin Bell, known for playing
Not
the
interested.
Jigsaw Killer, John Kramer, has signed up for Saw 10. Chris, what are your feelings on this?
It's if it's not Halloween, it's not Halloween. If it's not, who fucking cares?
You're close. Yeah. So here's the thing. I love the Saw franchise, or at least I have a love-hate relationship with the original 7 movies. I can't stand Jigsaw, and Spiral was very. So
Spiral is the motion it was doing going down the drain.
yeah. I don't feel like that they need to keep making Saw movies. I feel like this is as Vernon's saying. They keep milking a dry cow. Yeah. I'm just imagining, yeah. You pull the
Dust.
teeth, it's got that air, that wind sound.
Dust.
Powdered milk.
It's evaporated milk.
It's evaporated milk, yeah. So, and that's the thing. This is something that I feel like has really only been something of a point lately, is that these franchises, not just Saw, not just even horror movies, some of these franchises are really starting to wear out their welcome. Sure, I was open to the idea of like, let's do another franchise in the Jurassic Park universe. Cool. Now that we've done another 3 Jurassic Park movies, I'm like, we don't need to go back to Jurassic Park for decades, or if ever. I would be perfectly okay for the rest of my life if there's not another Jurassic Park movie. That's not going to happen because people like money. But let's sit on it for like another 15, 20 years. Yeah. Same with like the Halloween franchise. I'm tired of the Halloween movies. Enough. Stop making Halloween movies. Saw. It's time to stop playing the games. No one wants to play a game anymore. It's game over for the Saw franchise. Let's not make another one. They're going to. I'm going to go see it. I love Tobin Bell, so I love the fact that he's brought back. But the fact that, spoiler alert, the fact that his character has been dead since the end of the 3rd Saw movie. If they bring him back, they're bringing him back for some stupid convoluted flashback again, like they did in Jigsaw, which the whole point of that movie was like, oh, is Jigsaw back? No, he wasn't back. It was a flashback. Again,
he's his twin brother.
I'm tired of the Saw franchise. Just let it stop. Just let it end. If nothing else, if you have to make another one, maybe do some kind of like a one-off sequel to Spiral, because I would kind of like to see the ending of Spiral, how that would continue in another movie, now that we know who this new killer is and yada, yada, yada. But other than that, I don't care about any of the rest of it. So
I will say the same thing for this, as I've said for multiple other franchises. It'll be the only amount of input I have on this particular topic. It's okay to end a franchise. It's fine. You can end it. Jurassic Park can end. Terminator can end. Saw can end. It's okay to end a franchise. We don't have to have a new movie every 2, 3, 5 years.
You know what I would actually recommend? Here's something that could be interesting if someone wants to take the time to figure this out. Go the Child's Play route. Do a TV show. When the Chucky TV series first started, as Vernon can attest this with me, we were both kind of iffy on it. Like, just something wasn't quite right there. It seemed to really find its footing by the end of the first season, and I'm not entirely disappointed with how it's doing so far for the second season. Do a Saw show.
Actually, that sounds like a better idea in that I feel like the theming, the plotting of Saw and how it works would fit more in line with a serial procedural type show.
It was a soap opera already. I mean,
yeah, it's just like a more horrified version of your CSIs and your NCISs and your Blacklist and all those kinds of like drama shows like that, just with a little bit more horror and a little bit more stuff that I don't like to see. You can make a whole show out of that.
I think that would be a fantastic idea, actually. I think that would play very well.
Yeah. How much money he's putting into it too.
Yeah, that's the only thing. I mean, those movies are made for cheap, mainly because almost every movie that comes out nowadays stars a bunch of people that we have no idea who they are. With the exception, I know Spiral had Chris Rock and Samuel L. Jackson in it, but other than that, the other people in that movie, no clue who they were. Yeah. So. Saw was a TV show. It was called Fear Factor. That's pretty good.
Wasn't that starring Joe Rogan? Anyway.
Anyways. Tool Time was the Saw prequel TV show.
Burning down the house.
Yeah. Anyways, next one. Let's just keep this whole thing about death. Let's just keep talking about death. Apparently Jessica Chastain wrote a letter to Anne Hathaway saying that she wants to make a remake of Death Becomes Her with herself and Anne Hathaway playing the lead roles. I'm guessing the roles that were played by Goldie Hawn and Meryl Streep in the original, which, if I remember correctly, I want to say that was a Robert Zemeckis movie, I believe. I think so. Yeah,
correct.
This could be interesting. So I don't know. I don't think you haven't seen Death Becomes Her.
Okay.
It's one of those like one-off movies that I feel like most people, like, the trailer for it showed something like that was going to be amazing or creepy, funny. And most of the awesomeness that people liked out of the trailer didn't happen till like the last 30 minutes of the movie. So it kind of put off audiences in so much that we didn't get like a whole bunch of that movie with Goldie Hawn having a hole in her torso or Meryl Streep's head being bouncy on her neck or whatever. We didn't get a lot of that. That was towards the end of the movie. So I would like them to revisit that, but I want them to spend a little bit more time in that fantasy realm with it. Yeah, I would say, if you don't know what it's about, it's basically these two friends, rivals, frenemies, whatever. They take a potion to live forever, and then they end up getting into a fight, and like Meryl Streep tries to kill Goldie Hawn with like a shotgun and blows a hole in her torso, and Meryl Streep gets like pushed down the stairs and breaks her neck, so they can't die, so they have to live with these injuries. I think they're both fighting over a man, which was Bruce Willis in the movie. So, so here's a couple of good ideas, Lego. Make it gay.
Make it gay.
Have a woman direct it. That could be interesting. There's a lot of good things that they could do if they were to go like that angle with it. But it's one of those movies, like, again, like I said, when it first came out, people were put off by the fact that we didn't spend most of the movie with the funny, horrific stuff. But it did gain a cult following since. And I like the idea of revisiting this storyline, this idea. especially with Jessica Chastain and Anne Hathaway in it. If they could pull that off, that would be fantastic.
Yep. Gar says, who should be in the Bruce Willis role? Now, I haven't seen the movie, but I'm just going to throw out Jason Statham.
That would be funny.
Why not?
That would be funny if you still want to keep it as a lead male role. It could be kind of like what Lego's saying, like make it gay, make it like a threesome of like women. Like maybe there's the two women are fighting over this other woman who's like some beautiful celebrity or something that they're both pining over.
Anna Kendrick. I don't know.
Yeah,
I'm just throwing out random names at this point.
Sandra Bullock or Julia Roberts. Bring in Julia Roberts to play Julia Roberts from the Ocean's movies. Hey, that's a good movie that has Julia Roberts and all those actors I said earlier.
Hey, we should move on to another news story that Lego probably has a lot of feelings about.
Okay, let's talk about National Treasure 3.
Hey, let's go.
Apparently, Nicolas Cage is in talks. You know, I haven't seen my Nicolas Cage pillow in a while. I think it's buried somewhere. But apparently, Nicolas Cage is in talks to be a part of National Treasure 3.
Yes.
I remember liking the first one. I remember the second one.
Give me a trilogy. Second one's good.
Actually, I don't remember very much about the second one at all. I remember Ed Harris was in it, and here comes PLD. But I remember Ed Harris in it, and that's about it.
Yeah, it was good. There was a lot of good stuff. His character was really good. Ed Harris's character was really good in that. I'm excited. I wanted this to be a trilogy. I've been wanting a National Treasure 3 for a while. I think the first two are just. I describe them as the type of movie, and it's the type of movie that what's his name? Jerry Bruckheimer. It's the type of movie that he makes, which is just a good, solid product of a movie. You know, it's just a good sit down and like, I'm just gonna enjoy a movie, and here's a movie for me to enjoy. You understand what I'm saying?
Yeah,
like
he's not trying to
Yeah.
break anything. He's break
No.
new ground. He's not trying to win awards. He just wants to entertain you for like an hour and a half to 2 hours, and that's it.
Just wants to put out a solid product of a movie. Here's a movie. You're gonna enjoy the movie. You're not gonna hate the movie. You're gonna enjoy the movie. It's gonna be fun. Yeah. And that's what I think the National Treasure movies are. I think the National Treasure movies are just really solid products of a movie. And I am totally on board for a trilogy. And honestly, if they put out a third one and it's as good as the first two, we talking about National Treasure being one of the best trilogies, the best complete trilogies ever. And I am on board for that. So give me this National Treasure 3. Nicolas Cage is in talks right now, which is funny. It's a funny phrase. It's a funny phrase to say that Nicolas Cage is in talks with someone for a movie, because usually those talks with Nicolas Cage last 5 minutes. And they usually follow up with, yeah, sure, I'll do it.
So someone hands Nicolas Cage a script and a check, and he's like, yeah, okay.
All right, cool. Sounds good. I'll be there. What date? All right, cool. So the fact that this movie, a third outing in the National Treasure movie, he's in talks for. How have you guys not already figured out the contract information and the payday here? Like, sign him up. This is happening. Come on, this is happening. This is happening.
Yeah.
Look,
makes me kind of want to watch that Massive Talent movie again. I don't know.
Lego.
I might watch that after this and might make a watch along out of it.
Two things can be true at the same time. Nicolas Cage can be a lot of fun to watch and an enjoyable actor, and he can also do a lot of random ass movies.
So I'm not gonna dive like deep into this, but was it Dead Meat released the kill count for Willy's Wonderland, starring Nicolas Cage, and in that they said that that they sent Nicolas Cage the script for the movie like on a Friday, and by that Monday he was like, "I'll do it." So it was like over the course of the weekend he read the movie, and also what's funny about that movie is he doesn't talk at all.
There's precedent.
Yeah, so it's a whole movie where you don't get Nicolas Cage actually like full on raging cage mode.
Now, the truth is, there is a little bit different. There's a difference between, a Friday to Monday, yes, I'll do it, and actually, okay, you agree to be in the movie. Now let's drum up the paperwork. Let's get the contract. Let's get all that signed. That takes a little bit longer. So the in talks situation might actually, it could be anywhere in between the, do you want to do this, to the, yes, he's already decided to do it. Now we just got to wait for the paperwork to be signed kind of situation. So it could be like, a month span of talks or something like that. So I joke, but I think this is happening. I think he's going to sign. I mean, it's the third movie. They're going to give him, not that money's everything here. Obviously, a love of the craft is a big deal. And I believe that for sure for Nicolas Cage. But they're going to give him a pretty solid check for doing a third National Treasure movie. It's Disney. They've already got a National Treasure show on Disney Plus. So, I mean, this is happening. This is 100%. I'm saying right now this is happening. This whole in talks. We're finding out news that it's in talks. He's already agreed to it. Let's be honest.
Probably. Anyways, let's move on to a little bit of MCU news. So therefore, we'll bring in hey, it's the Feige family updates. What's going on? Hey, yeah, okay.
Well, your heart's not in it. It's been a few weeks. Hey, let's go. Hey, forget about it. We got the family back. Hey, cut back to me and you see my face while I'm doing this. So I'm going to get canceled. Hey, all right.
Adam Driver apparently is in talks to be a part of the MCU. Mainly, it sounds like he's in talks to do something for a Fantastic Four movie. I believe everyone is seemingly thinking on the same terms of the fact that he would probably be pretty good playing Doctor Doom. Only thing that I have against that is it's not going to be too far off from him playing Kylo Ren. It's him in a mask,
presumably with the deep, intimidating voice.
Hopefully,
unless they go the Julian McMahon route,
that was probably the worst thing of the Tim Story Fantastic
Victor.
Four.
Let's not fight. No, Sue.
No, Sue.
Let's.
Or no, other way around. Yeah. His Julian McMahon he can be an intimidating guy, just not when you put a metal mask on his face and don't change his voice at all.
Yeah.
They needed to have modulated his voice, make him sound intimidating also.
I don't hate the idea of Adam Driver as Doom. One, because of the Kylo Ren of it all. We know he's good at that style of villain.
Mm-hmm.
Two, Adam Driver is just a fantastic actor, and you really do need to have someone fantastic in the role of Dr. Doom. So I think Adam Driver is actually he's a really solid choice. I know a lot of people out there are pushing for an actor that hails from the region that Latveria would be in had Latveria been a actual real country. In which case, I don't know who from that region is out there and could take on that role. I think for the role of Doom, you are looking for more prestige in the situation than you are just trying to find someone closer to a specific people group. So I think in this situation, you're going to pull a Scarlet Witch where Elizabeth Olsen isn't from that region that Sokovia would be in. Like the same, Adam Driver wouldn't be in the same region that Dr. Doom is from. However, that being said, my prediction right now is if Adam Driver is currently rumored for Doom, then he either already is or he already isn't Doom. Because my prediction stands that I still believe that we see some form of Doom at the end of Wakanda Forever. That is my prediction. It's not an official thing. I'm not spoiling anything because it's not coming from a source of knowledge.
Contrary to popular belief, we are not shills for Marvel Studios.
I also don't have a connection who leaked anything to me because
that would be awesome though.
My connection is my brother.
Oh, sure. Put it all on me. I don't have a connection to that. I barely
Bingo.
ever leave my bedroom. So
exactly. So we don't have connections. This is just a personal prediction. I think that if Adam Driver is going to be Doom, he either already is Doom and we're going to see him as Doom in Wakanda Forever, or they haven't casted him as Doom yet, and we're just going to get a image of Doom like we got an image of Thanos in the first Avengers movie. Not really any one particular actor of note being in that role.
I'm guessing if they don't want to show him, they might do the thing like where you hear him talking and then you see like his metal arm like on the armrest of his chair, and everyone's gonna be like, cool, they gotta go fight Dr. Claw from Inspector Gadget.
Get your next time, Gadget. Next time. Yeah. Garth, I'm gonna time you.
He is or isn't Doom.
I'm gonna time you out.
That'd be a true statement, right?
There's
there.
there's more context to that sentence.
Anyway, look, I'm either eating a plate of nachos right now or I'm not. It's one of those two. Nacho sounds good, by the way. I like the idea of Adam Driver probably still more as Doom rather than like pretty much anyone else. He wouldn't be a good Reed. I don't think he would be good for Reed Richards.
There's not really any other Fantastic Four roles. I mean, that would fit like Adam Driver's like caliber.
He's not going to be the Thing. He's not going to be like a CGI character like that. He'll be a character where his face is covered, but he's not going to be a CGI character.
Yeah,
not at this point.
He's not going to be Human Torch. He's obviously not going to be the Invisible Woman. So,
well, you don't know. It's 2022.
He's not going to be the Invisible Woman. They're not going to do that. They're not going to cast a man as the woman.
It would be a stretch. It would be a stretch.
Yeah, a little bit of a stretch.
Garth's Boston accent is even in his, even in what he types.
Adam Driver's Reed Richards would be a stretch.
Anyways,
Smart
I don't know of any other villains he could play. Like maybe a nihilist, but I don't think they're going to bring a nihilist into the movie.
Actually, that's not a horrible idea either.
Well, the thing with the nihilist though is you generally never see his face, so that's probably not likely to happen. Adam Driver,
he'd be a voice role at that point.
How about though Adam Driver as Galactus?
Possible.
That could be some good casting.
I just don't know that we're gonna see Galactus just quite yet.
Yeah.
Silver Surfer.
Adam Driver as a Silver Surfer. I could potentially see that. Unfortunately, my only point of reference on that is the shirtless shot of him in Star Wars. That he probably have to tone that up a little bit. What was it that they did in?
Are you body shaming Adam Driver right now?
Need to tighten.
He needs to be a little bit. He needs to have lean muscle, not bulk muscle.
Yeah,
that's what you're trying to say.
Freaking Garth throwing out like Paste Pot Pete. Okay, Garth, we get it. You know comic books.
Garth is a comic book fan.
We get it. Tell me you're a comic book fan without telling me you're a comic book fan. You guys ever heard of Paste Pot Pete?
No, I have not actually. There you go.
Yeah.
A lot of people. I saw some people saying like Mole Man. I'm like, no, probably not.
No,
probably not. Mole Man feels like
Danny DeVito.
Mole Man doesn't feel like a full movie threat to me. He feels like a Paul Giamatti's Rhino at the beginning and end of the movie type situation. Yeah. Or if you watch The Incredibles, the Underminer.
Well, I mean, so fun fact, the Mole Man actually was like one of the major villains in the 94 Fantastic Four, the Roger Corman produced one.
Yeah, that makes sense.
There was a reason why that movie wasn't released.
That checks.
Well, okay. So he's not playing Mole Man.
No.
That's great. Other things real quick, while we're in the MCU territory still. We got trailers this past week for both Ant-Man and the Wasp Quantumania and the Guardians of the Galaxy holiday special. So we did the trailer reaction for Ant-Man. It looks good. I
Yeah,
agree.
yeah.
I love the fact that I wish we got more close up of like the full on like Kang look with like the blue face mask. I love the fact though that they did go out and do the scars on his head, on his face.
Mhm.
That looks good. What little we get to see of the costume in the lighting looks good.
Yeah.
But yeah, I want to see like more of a close up, like when he's like actually like ready to fight with the blue shield on his face and stuff. How that looks.
Now,
Otherwise,
my entry to Kang in activity. I always say I didn't read a whole lot of comic books that Kang is featured in, or really honestly any. I do know about the character though, but my entry to Kang is watching him in action in that Avengers Earth's Mightiest Heroes cartoon, which, by the way, top tier animation, top tier Avengers cartoon. Kang in that cartoon is an intimidating presence. He just basically just stands there and kind of just commands things. He's just like, and like stuff happens with all the technology and everything, dealing with his time period and where he comes from. He seems nearly unbeatable. Honestly, completely unbeatable, which is what I am excited to see from Kang in the movies. I want to see him like Thanos. Thanos looked like a very intimidating threat with the Infinity Stones, felt kind of unbeatable, but you could still, like, especially in Endgame when Scarlet Witch dropped on the battlefield and, snatched up Thanos. Granted, he didn't have the Infinity Stones at that moment. You could see the fallibility of Thanos. Kang strikes me as somebody who doesn't have that same level of fallibility. He's going to be an intimidating presence, and Jonathan Majors right now looks like he's killing that role. We saw him in Loki as He Who Remains, and then we see him in this trailer along with the expanded dialogue that we hear his character has from the trailers that were shown at Comic-Con. I'm already terrified of him. Also, the GQ photos or whatever. I'm terrified.
Yeah. So going back to what you're saying about like Thanos and how they defeat him. So the funny thing to note on this, essentially you've got two ways to defeat a supervillain in these movies. You either just flat out beat them like brute force and violence. You overpower them and knock them senseless. Or two, you defeat them like
with
behind
brains.
the scenes. For example, in Infinity War, they were trying to defeat Thanos by overpowering him and knock him senseless. That didn't work. He had the Infinity Gauntlet. Couldn't defeat him. In Endgame, they defeat him by not fighting him. They go get the stones themselves, and then by the time they have to face him, everyone's already been brought back. Then some of them can overpower him because he doesn't have the stones. He's a lot easier to fight when there's a whole bunch of them there. But for the most part, he was defeated overall by not actually engaging with him. That's what I'm wondering what's going to happen with Kang. Is Kang going to be a situation where we're going to get a ton of people to engage physically with him, or are they going to beat him by some other means, like some other smarter route? As we see in the trailer, he's got an army. So we're probably going to have, at some point, that's probably going to be utilized, probably in the Kang Dynasty movie. We're going to see that army at full power, and there'll probably be a bunch of heroes or whatever, contending with them, as we saw like an Endgame type situation. But I think Kang, you're going to have to connect with him on an intellectual level, a la Doctor Strange and Doctor Strange with Dormammu. You're going to have to. You're not going to be able to physically overpower him. His technology is too far advanced. You can't touch him. So I think that might be the situation that we see. And again, like I said before, I believe that Dr. Doom is going to be the one to pull the trigger on Kang, and maybe he's going to be the one to outmaneuver him intellectually or somehow. And then that will be what you see going into Secret Wars. So I like this. This is probably very likely, actually. He'll be defeated by another version of himself. He Who Remains comes back, and he's good. Something like that, yeah. But anyway, well, know what you guys thought about this trailer as well. So if you guys
if you guys have any opinions, let us know in the chat. What did you think of the Ant-Man trailer?
Also, while we're doing that, let's talk about the Guardians holiday special trailer.
Yeah.
We didn't do a reaction to that. Just we weren't expecting them to drop another MCU trailer the day after the Ant-Man one, so therefore we weren't prepared or ready or had the ability to get to it. It looks good though. I like it.
Yeah, I love it. I'm already on board for it. The whole angle of the Kevin Bacon side of things, I'm all about it. I've been hoping that they've been because they talk about Kevin Bacon. Star-Lord talks about Kevin Bacon so much and like Footloose and all that. I was like, they gotta like somehow like get Kevin Bacon in here, right? And he's gotta like they gotta make some kind of connection here, and Star-Lord's got to meet Kevin Bacon or something, and they're gonna do it in the holiday special. And I'm like, absolutely. It looks hilarious. But they're doing it as one of those special presentations like Werewolf by Night. We already knew that they were doing it as not a full movie and not a TV show. It was going to be just a short holiday special. But I really see that looks like they're like really committing to this holiday special thing. Did one for Halloween. They're doing one for Christmas. You know, maybe there will be some other holiday specials in the future on various holidays.
Can't wait for the MCU Arbor Day MCU holiday special, whatever.
Also starring Groot.
Actually, probably that would make sense. Dude, did you see like Groot? Like, is it just me, or are we like trying to actually get Groot to physically be played by Vin Diesel now? Because he's kind of
he almost looked like a practical suit.
Almost like it looks like Vin Diesel's probably going to be in a costume at some point playing him, drinking Coronas and talking about family.
No, talking about Groot.
Oh yeah, but he'll be like, with his Corona, we are family, or Groot, or something like that.
A thing to note: people who saw the Guardians of the Galaxy Volume 3 footage / trailer, whatever they saw from the convention circuits, they noted that Groot in this holiday special looks exactly the same as he does in Guardians of the Galaxy Volume 3. So this is what we expect Groot to look like in the third Guardians movie, which is he is not really. It doesn't seem like he's really a teenager Groot anymore. He's more of a young man Groot, like maybe an early 20s Groot type situation. And so, you know, he's not fully back to, you know, what Groot was in the first Guardians movie, but this is a new Groot. This is a new form of a Groot anyway, or apparently according to James Gunn, his son. So interesting.
I'm almost willing to bet we're probably going to get some kind of like maybe a teaser type trailer for Volume 3 at the end of this also.
Yeah.
Because it sounds like it sounds like it's going to lead right into what they're doing in Volume 3. So I wouldn't be surprised if we get some kind of like a teaser. Maybe we'll get like a quick glimpse of Adam Warlock at the end of it. Maybe the fact that they've got Cosmo in it, they're advertising that Cosmo is going to be in this. So we'll have to get the story of how exactly they're picking up Cosmo, because last time we saw Cosmo was the dog that was with the Collector back on Nowhere. So what's happened since the Collector's whatever museum was destroyed by Thanos? When did they have time or pick up Cosmo?
And why was Howard the Duck in the in-game battle, but Cosmo was not?
Yeah. So, and what exactly did Howard the Duck lend to that battle? Like, what did he do? He didn't do anything. We just showed him walking on the field.
Took out a henchman or two, but then probably vanished.
Yeah. Anyway, so that looks pretty good. What did y'all think of that one as well? Especially like the Kevin Bacon stuff.
The legendary Kevin Bacon.
Yeah. So we bring that up for a very specific reason, seeing that's being directed by James Gunn. So we're in an interesting situation here that you've got James Gunn is now going to be promoting Howard the Duck was next to the team of women, of course. Yeah, of course. Absolutely.
That makes sense. It's on brand.
That he's directed the Guardians of the Galaxy holiday special. He's got Guardians of the Galaxy Volume 3 coming out that he's also got to be putting finishing touches on and promoting. But now he's working for the distinguished competition. This is good. So I know like a lot of people I saw on Twitter and whatnot were like, well, how's he going to be able to do this while he's working for DC? Easy. He's just going to promote his movie because, first of all, it's his movie. It's still his movie, a movie that he made. He's going to promote his movie. Second of all, he's probably contractually obligated to Marvel to promote it. Pretty sure DC is okay with that.
Yeah,
so that's how that's going to happen.
In all these terms, like I love the peon crowd on Twitter. The people who aren't in the industry, don't know anything, and are still commenting on all of it because they see the situation. They're like, how can he do Guardians of the Galaxy 3 if he's working over at DC? The movie's in post-production.
This is also a different scenario than what people are used to in an actual workforce. It's not like he's working for McDonald's making Whoppers at the competitor. No, they're not really competing. The only way that they're competing is if they both release a movie on the same weekend, and one, that probably actually wouldn't really affect either one of them, and two, it doesn't actually matter because they're not going to do that anyways. Yeah, I know, Garth. I was thinking that too when he said peon crowd. I was like, who's
Peon? God,
yeah, I had to pause and think of what you just said also. But yeah, anyways,
the peanut gallery. Excuse me.
It really doesn't like matter because both Marvel and DC are not going to release a movie on the same weekend.
Yeah,
even if they don't actually affect one another.
Yeah, so a lot of people don't know what they're talking about. It's hilarious too. The only thing that actually intrigues me about this in regards to specifically talking about James Gunn's work with Marvel, now James Gunn's work with DC, is we've seen that James Gunn received a producerial credit on, like the Avengers movies. Anywhere the Guardians of the Galaxy characters showed up, he was also producing, that movie as well, like the Endgame, Infinity War. I'm assuming that while this does technically end the current storyline of the Guardians of the Galaxy, we might see some of these characters continue on. We might see some of these characters not continue on, but at least a few of these characters might still end up in the Kang Dynasty or Secret Wars or something like that. Like these, we're assuming this isn't going to be like all of the Guardians of the Galaxy die at the end of this movie and that's it. Like that's not what's going to happen. So these characters are still going to live on in some capacity. At least a few of them will. So with their appearances, does James Gunn still receive producer credits on those movies? Is he allowed or contractually allowed to receive producer credits on Marvel movies? If one thinks about it, I would say there's no reason why he couldn't. He's still an individual. He's still his own brand, his own company. That's how it works in the Hollywood scene. Actors, directors, writers, producers, they're all their own individual person and their own brand. Him as a brand should be able to still produce movies for Marvel, maybe with not so much of a hands-on producer type credit, but a,
executive
producer, just in name, just I help create these characters for the screen or bring these characters to the screen or whatever. So I could see that happening and him still be in his role at DC now, which I'm pretty excited for the most part. And we can talk about that.
So it was announced yesterday. James Gunn and Peter Safran are going to basically be the CEOs of what's now being referred to as the DCU. They are in charge of everything like entertainment related to DC Comics. So film, TV, and animation. They'll be in charge of that. They are the Kevin Feige of the DC universe, which is fantastic. That's what we've been saying, like just blatantly copy Marvel. Get a Kevin Feige, let him be the person that is in charge of everything, and then studio Warner Brothers Discovery, what's his name, Zaslav, stay the hell out of his way. Just let him create. Don't come in and override anything. Just let them do what they need to do. and they will bring in money for you. That's it. That's what needs to be done. So real quick, I know like a lot of people know who James Gunn is. We've been talking about James Gunn for a while. Like we're familiar with what his work has been. Not many people know who Peter Safran is. Peter Safran pretty much has been working with James Gunn almost, I would say, ever since James Gunn like left Troma. I don't know if he necessarily left Troma, but just when he started doing more mainstream stuff on his own, Peter Safran was there to like kind of help produce, executive produce, and get stuff made. So we already know that both James Gunn and Peter Safran have worked well together over the past, almost 20 years now. So I feel like that was a thing. Like Kevin Feige is just the one person for Marvel. He doesn't talk to anyone. He doesn't have to collaborate really with anyone. He is the head honcho, gets to make decisions. While now you got DC, you've got two people that kind of have like some say-so over it. But that's the thing, is these two people have already been working very well together for almost 20 years. So I would assume that kind of makes them a lot like they're just one collective mind that's going to be working. I think that's going to be great for DC.
It's like the Russo brothers directing, or other director duos, essentially two people working together to help make decisions and whatnot. I think it's great. The only concern I had, and I voiced this during my Twitch streams, my Twitch stream yesterday when, the news broke and everything, is that those of y'all who know me, like I'm a little bit more squeamish with some of the more gorier aspects of certain movies and whatnot, to the point where I just up and decide I'm not going to watch certain movies if they have, shots of things in them that I'm not going to be inclined to see. This stuff sticks with me. It bothers me later. It strikes a nerve with me, essentially. And I know I'm not the only type of person out there. I know there's plenty of people out there that feel exactly the same way. They just don't like gory violence. I can take blood. I can take some cuts and some hits every now and then. Not too bad, but
if body parts just go up and missing without detail in it.
Yeah, I'm not on board with, essentially the way I like to explain it is if it's on the inside, it doesn't need to be on the outside, essentially. And that's kind of the way I take it. That being said, I have not seen The Suicide Squad, James Gunn's version, or James Gunn's sequel to Suicide Squad, just because there's some aspects of that movie that fall into that bucket. So I miss out on a piece of storytelling, essentially, for the DC universe right now. Now, as it stands up to this point, the DC universe has been kind of haphazard and all over the place and kind of not really knowing what direction it's going. So I don't really feel like that's been that big of a deal for me to miss out on that one particular movie. If anything, I can go back to the Wikipedia page probably and read the plot and catch up if I needed to. If there's anything important in that movie that I need to know about later on. My only concern with this, and it's not that heavy of a concern because I think James Gunn's got a pretty solid creative head on his shoulders. He knows what flies and what doesn't, is that how many of these movies going forward are going to fall into that R rating bucket that the Suicide Squad falls into, and why do we need to go that route for any of these movies? Whereas Marvel over here has been doing great success with just keeping it PG-13. Obviously, we know Deadpool coming up is going to be the one R-rated movie that's connected to the MCU in some capacity. And so that's been my only concern, is that James Gunn is more in favor, or can be more in favor, of the R-rated comedy, violent type situation that I particularly would not be interested in, and how much of the DCU is going to be going in that direction. I don't think it's going to be entirely going in that direction. I think James Gunn, also the director of Guardians of the Galaxy, knows when he can put a limit on certain things and how creatively the stuff can fly. So I think I lean more in the I'm excited bucket than I am concerned. But I just have a minor concern with that.
Yeah. The stuff in Black Adam, like Garth's asking, most of that it wasn't very highly detailed. It
wasn't graphic.
lighting. It was real quick flashes. It really
There wasn't
didn't
really
matter
blood
about
and
that.
guts.
Yeah. And that's what I was saying. Like you would be okay with like say someone's running and all of a sudden like their head just up and disappears. Maybe they get their head chopped off and it's just gone real quick. There's no like blood
Not a
or
fan.
like any sinew or anything like hanging out their neck stump or anything.
Yeah, like for instance, in
That
the
would be
Suicide
fine.
Squad, I know that Pete Davidson's character, spoilers, gets his face blown off.
Yeah.
I don't want to see that. Don't want to see that. Not into meaty whatever, So
But anyways, like I like the idea of these two being in charge of DC.
Yeah.
I'm really eager to see exactly what they're going to do with it. I mean, of course, obviously, we've also gotten word that Superman, Henry Cavill, is coming back. They are moving forward on Man of Steel 2.
Good.
Which I like. So we've got the announcement of like the Kevin Feige's of the DC and bringing back doing a Man of Steel 2. That is the two number one things more than anything else I feel like is the pushing DC movies in the correct direction, righting the ship. I feel like anything else I feel like would be like nitpicking on my part. I want to see that Flash movie, just cancel it. Get rid of the whole bad press with Ezra Miller. Just cancel the Flash movie and do away with that. Do away with Matt Reeves' Batman movie. Let's bring the Batman back to the DCU and do it properly within this new film universe.
There's an interesting discussion to be had about that, in which there is simultaneous Batman films happening, where there is one that is a little more grounded, a little more dark, brooding. The other one fits in line with the universe of gods, the universe of superpowers and crazy cartoon aspects. In which case, here's the thing. We already have multiple Batmans in film existing at the same time. Namely specifically, we've got Ben Affleck's Batman, which does still exist. He is still going to make another appearance at least coming up. At least one or two more appearances coming up. At the same time, Robert Pattinson's Batman exists. I'm not confused. I don't think general audiences really would be confused, and it takes minor explanation in order to get them on board and understand.
I don't think the problem is confusion now. I think the problem now is oversaturation. For me, for example, where I'm judging this opinion off of is completely me. I saw the Batman, the Robert Pattinson movie in the theaters. I haven't watched it again since. I have like no real desire to revisit it. It was an okay movie, sure, it was fine, but I'm tired of Batman. Just enough. I want to see Batman brought back properly within like an MCU type of capacity. Bring him back in naturally within the DCU. That's it. That's the only Batman I need.
I just think as a whole for the market, these things aren't mutually exclusive. They can coexist.
Sure,
as long as
I've seen a lot of people share the same opinion that I have for the Batman, where they're like, yeah, it was a good movie, but why? What?
Yeah, but there's also a lot of people that say loved it, want to see more from it. Yeah. So the fact that those people exist and there's a lot of those people means Warner Brothers is going to make more.
I want to take away your fun and enjoyment. No more Matt Reeves Batman for you. No.
Only Ben Affleck Batman or whatever.
Batman. No, I don't even know if I was like a huge fan of the Batfleck either. I think mainly
I wish they went in a different direction, but
my main issue with it is the fact that we don't have Ben Affleck fully committed to playing this role as much as we had, like, say, Robert Downey Jr. committed to playing Tony Stark.
Yeah,
that's my level of it, and that's why I think like getting someone like James Gunn and Peter Safran in. Of course, James Gunn's going to be handling the creativity side of everything. Peter Safran's going to be handling the business side of it. Between the two of them and James Gunn's experience already working with MCU and seeing how the MCU and Feige does stuff, I'm hoping that's what's going to lead to them finding good actors and committed actors, that they're not going to like, hey, Ben Affleck, would you like to come play Batman for like a movie or two? Sure, you got me for 2 movies, but I'm not going to do anything more. I want commitment out of these people to, hey, you're going to play Batman. Just realize we may need either Batman or Bruce Wayne or both of y'all over the course of the next 20 years or so. Maybe pop in as a cameo, maybe be like a co-starring role in some movie. We need your dedication to this.
Yeah. We're trying
That's
to
what I
build a
want.
brand. We're trying to build out something here, and we need everybody on board with the vision.
That's what I want, and I don't think you're going to get that out of Ben Affleck. He's
Not at
too
this
much
point.
of a flight risk, I would say.
Which is why I wasn't a huge fan of the direction they went with him to begin with, making him an older Batman. Like I do want a, early 30s Batman to try to just come in here at the height of Batman's time, be facing off against Batman's classic villains, they translate and appear from comics. Yeah, I want that. I want the animated Batman in live action.
Yeah. I want a good, I want Batman to be a part of the rest of the DCU, interacting with Superman, Wonder Woman, Justice League, and all that. But I also want to expand in his own movies in the DCU universe. Is that DC universe? It's going to get confusing. In that group of films, I also want to see him expand on his own. I want to see the Bat family. I want to see the proper take on Robin, Batgirl, Alfred, bring in all of the Bat family and then expand it with his villains. I want to see a good solid take on Joker, Penguin, Mr. Freeze. Do that. That's what the people want.
And I think we'll see. I mean, there's a lot to that. There's a lot that can be done still with that Flash movie. I know a lot of people are backing that Flash movie as kind of the reset button for a lot of stuff. And
it's gonna be too late by the time it comes out.
We're gonna end up having a new Flash at the end of the whole thing. Ezra's not coming back after this. Probably gonna be in jail. But there could be a reset button that's gonna happen with that Flash movie, and it's not too late. It's happening next year.
But it really should have come out last year. I know some of it was because of the pandemic, so we can't help it, but they needed to have pumped that out much faster than they did, so we can get over it and move on.
The thing with it all is that there's not really big DC projects other than Shazam and Aquaman happening, so it's not really it's okay. It's fine. It's going to happen. It's going to reset some stuff and potentially reset some stuff. We actually don't know the plot or anything yet, but I think that there's a lot of work. There's a lot of stuff that I think James Gunn's going to be fully capable of picking up the pieces of and going, okay, here's where this can be left aside now. We're not going to touch this ever again. These characters, this, we can tie this together. All right. And now Peter Safran's going to come over here okay, then we're going to go ahead and pump this out at this date, this out at this date, this out at this date. And this is the structure. I strongly believe we need to keep our eye on DC for Comic-Con next year.
Oh, yeah.
Because I think DC's showcase at Comic-Con next year is going to be not that I'm talking about an actual competition here, but it's going to rival a Marvel showcase in that we're on board. We've got a timeline here. These are the movies we're expecting to put out. Trust us, this is actually going to happen now.
Oh yeah, I want to see something like the 2014 Marvel presentation. Yeah. Do that at Comic-Con next year. That would be gorgeous.
And James Gunn and Peter Safran are going to be the guys to make it happen.
Well, here's the thing. The overall, as hard as I am on DC, I'm this hard on DC because I love DC Comics and I want to see a proper rendition of these characters that I feel we haven't gotten yet. So I'm upset that I'm not seeing the stuff that I feel like we should be seeing. We're seeing it for Marvel, and Marvel's doing a dynamite job. Why can't DC do it? Well, this is the biggest number one step in the right direction, and I feel like I'm pretty confident in. I will put my trust in James Gunn and Peter Safran. We've said before, in Feige we trust, in Gunn and Safran I'm trusting. So until they actually lose that trust, I don't think that's gonna happen. Gunn's done a lot of good work. So
in Feige we trust. We say that after 10 plus years of success from him in the MCU. I do not. I completely trust Kevin Feige. Let's see how. I think that I think they're capable of doing really good stuff, and I'm excited about them. But let's actually let them do some work here before I start going. Yeah, okay, I fully trust them.
That did remind me. You brought up the whole like 10+ year. That was one other thing that I was a little iffy about with James Gunn and Peter Safran, because it was when the news was announced yesterday. It was announced saying that they're signing a 4-year contract. So I'm guessing they're signing a 4-year contract to work with DC. And then if they do good work, DC will renew that contract, or Warner Brothers Discovery will renew that contract.
Yeah.
Have you ever heard of Kevin Feige signing a contract? As far as I know, Kevin Feige is just working there. He just does work for Marvel. He's not contracted as far as we know.
I think as the CEO of Marvel Studios, those roles are contracted still.
Okay. I just never heard of Kevin Feige signing a contract.
You are contracted for a period of time. He's contracted through Disney to be both the CEO of Marvel Studios. I believe he's not the head of Marvel Comics too, is he? I thought they put him in charge of or is it just extra Marvel Entertainment as a whole?
He's in charge of like Marvel Entertainment or whatever.
Yeah, so he's in charge of Marvel Entertainment beyond just the comic books. Like, honestly, anything that Marvel does beyond comics, he's kind of...
Comics, I want to say, I believe the comics, it's still Jose Quesada.
Okay.
Is in charge of the comics.
So, yeah, I mean, he is still contracted. He is still contracted through that stuff, but we don't hear about it that often because I think those contracts come up and it's just he just signs a new contract each time anyway because he's just going to. But yeah. I think all those roles, producers, everything is always contracted.
That just worries me because I haven't heard of Feige contracted. So I was like, does that mean they're only going to sign him for 4 years, and then after 4 years we're trying to look for another like lead person again?
Yeah, no, I think that they're going to do some good work in the 4 years. They'll stick around. So. Yeah.
Anyways, that's going to do it for tonight. Yeah. So let's go ahead and wrap this up again. We have the marquee coming this Friday, Stephen King movies. It is this Friday, the 28th, 7:30 Pacific, 10:30 Eastern. Special guests Lego and Tori will be on there talking Stephen King movies with me. We're going to be ranking, I believe, 18 Stephen King movies. Should be a good time there. So please join us for that. Otherwise, yeah, make sure you follow us. Hop on Patreon, patreon.com/cinefanatics if you feel the need to support us and your wallet can handle it, whatever tier is good for you. Otherwise, follow us on social media at CinefanaticsMLP on Twitter and Instagram. You can follow me personally at Robert Adams MLP on Twitter, Instagram, and Letterboxd.
You can follow me at Chris Adams MLP on Twitter, Instagram, and Letterboxd, as well as twitch.tv/Chris Adams MLP, where we're streaming, playing games, having a lot of fun. Bunch of new stuff coming up here pretty soon, so come hang out.
Yeah. Anyways, that's going to do it for tonight. I believe there's going to be a trailer for Scream 6 or Scream 2 or whatever they're calling it. I don't know. I will very likely do a reaction to it and have that up tomorrow, so stay tuned for that. Otherwise, we will see y'all. I'll see you on the marquee on Friday. Good night, everyone. Later.
See ya.